Now to welcome back to the show Dr. Bill Rodgers, our economic analyst. We're talking about the changing nature of work, and of course a lot of free agents out there nowadays. Everybody's not working for IBM anymore. What is going on? What's changing in the workplace?
Yeah, well, what we've seen over the last basically 20-something months is, as this recovery has occurred, 3.7 million new jobs in the private sector, but a large share of them, about 500,000, have been in the sort of temporary employment agencies, and that's part of what you see in a recovery. Right? Employers, especially now after the Great Recession, don't want to sort of put their toe fully into the water and hire full-time workers. But this is really now re-emerging, a longer-term trend that we began to see back in the 1990s, where about 42 million Americans, that's our best estimate, about 42 million Americans, and that's about a third of the labor force, we think, are beyond just being temp agencies, but either journalists, freelancers, or photographers, and that's grown dramatically.
Well, Bill, let's talk about the pros and cons of working freelance. Some people choose to do so. Right. Others have no option but to freelance because that's the only work available.
That's
pros
right.
and cons.
Yeah, exactly. One pro is obviously for the employee is the flexibility. Right, that if I'm trying to balance work-family life issues, where I got an elder parent, which is going to be an increasing issue for many of us, or I have younger children in daycare, and I need to go pick them up at midday, or helping those children out, helping those family members out. But on the employer side, it's also a benefit too of now in this sort of globalized, right, 24/7, right, 365 days in the year of fast-growing economy where we got to meet the bottom line, got to compete. Right, that it adds that greater flexibility. But now some of the cons is the issue around your paycheck now can come in spurts.
You don't have that predictable income coming in. One month may be great, the next month may be dry as a desert.
That's right. That's right.
And you certainly have options. As an employee, it gives you options. You don't want to be, some people don't want to be locked into a contract with an employer who pays X amount of dollars when as a freelancer you can make more. But you lose benefits as a freelancer. That's a big part of this.
That's most definitely. And there's something called the Freelancers Union. They're out of Brooklyn, New York, and they're actually the fastest growing union here in the United States. And one of the reasons why is this issue about greater variability with your income stream, with the absence or greater cost of, say, health insurance that you won't necessarily get when you're acting as a client. And one of the other big problems that we've begun to see, I'm doing some work for the union and we're following it up in a new study, is that non-payment and late payment are big, and even
people
never
getting
getting paid. About 10% of the people in the survey that answered in 2009 never got paid by their clients.
Are the days of working for one employer for 20, 30 years, starting and retiring, are those gone by way of the dinosaur?
Well, I think before the Great Recession, I think that was definitely the case. That you saw this sort of compact, this wonderful compact between employer and employee that had been existing for such a long period of time. That really had begun to fray. That as a part of globalization, technology, right, that firms began to lay off individuals or began to sort of say, hey, yeah, you've been with me for 20 years, but I'm sorry, you need to go for us to compete. And so we began to see at all levels of education, at all levels of skill throughout the 80s and 1990s, that the odds of losing your job, right, began to rise. And so that really began to people responding. My college students, many of them expect they're not going to be working with the same company over their life period, like our grandparents or even our father.
Well, the American workers are coming to the realization there's no allegiance.
That's right.
Corporate America is saying, well, it's nice that we could use you, but see ya.
That's right.
And these are, we're not talking about just part-time jobs. These are full-time freelance gigs.
Exactly.
Or I've heard the word permalance.
Yes.
Permalance jobs.
That's right. And colleges, universities, we're also one of the major benefactors of hiring individuals who are adjuncts who have these annual contracts that work for years and years and have that sort of, they're tempish, but they have this permanence to them. And it's another potential cost to it is that there's a sort of a decoupling of individuals to that workplace community. And so from a standpoint of loyalty, in your institution can fall off a bit. So it's there are some benefits, but there are costs. And I think right now, we're seeing, I think, some of the more of the costs beginning to potentially outweigh some of the benefits.
Just one brief thing. How's this look on a resume when you're freelance and you've got, things all over the place? Pro or con? Briefly.
Well, I mean, again, that's a terrible question to ask an economist.
in a short amount of time.
Yeah, well, the benefits of the cost. I mean, I think the bottom line for me is that networks and your recommendations become much more important in that case. Mm-hmm. But I think going forward, the policy conversation that we have to have here is one of making sure that these freelancers sign contracts. Right. And a very simple thing is making sure that they sign contracts, because that does raise the likelihood that you will get paid, that you won't be as late. And the other piece that we have to do is make sure that we are providing freelancers, this growing number of workers, the same kind of legal recourse as
fairness
a regular
in the workplace.
Exactly.
We're going to stop there. Always good to have you, Bill.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.